Leffen is...
Yes. You say you're number one in the world.
It's obvious.
Leffen is...
And he told it!
He's like the most perfect fox, for sure.
Can we please fix the rules?
Leffen is a beautiful symphony of a person, fighting game player, and internet personality. He's brash, he's brilliant, he's outspoken, he's incendiary, he's vulnerable, he's confident, and he's brutally, unapologetically honest. I've often said that the internet is a conglomeration of everything humanity has to offer. Good, bad, everything. It's all there. Though it does tend to be a little spicy, and I feel like you could describe Leffen the exact same way. There's a reason his presence online is electrifying, because his very spirit speaks to the underlying voice of the internet. Online, we want drama. We can't keep away from clickbait. We want beef, we want intrigue, and we want to follow it to see where it all goes. During a set at the Big House 4, I think Homemade Waffles accurately saw what Leffen was before anyone else did.
He keeps it real. He says what everyone's thinking, but nobody wants to say.
Leffen is gifted. He studies Melee in a way I think few truly do, analyzing things down to minute details. And armed with his intelligence, his work ethic, and his ability to destroy his opponents, Leffen's opinions about Melee and fighting games in general are online wildfire.
Sick game, sick balance.
Whether he's right or wrong, Leffen's ability makes him an authority. I always want to hear what Leffen has to say, because it's always interesting, and I want to believe him. But sometimes his opinions are not always well received.
You're not the end-all be-all when it comes to chip.
If you've heard of Leffen, it's likely you heard about him through some kind of controversy. He was banned from tournaments in Sweden for a time. He's drawn fire on Twitter for commentary on other fighting games, comments about minimum wage jobs, and was the target of a takedown video by Hacks Money, which resulted in Hacks Money being temporarily banned from tournaments. I wanted to study Leffen because I suspected beyond these controversies, beneath all this bravado, was something deeper. Leffen's original nickname in the Smash community was Godslayer, because he was the first person to defeat all 5 gods of Melee, a group of players who dominated the scene from 2008 to 2015. But I see Leffen as more than that. I think certain Melee players have unknown depths to their ability, and I think Leffen's skill, his pressure, forces these top players to reach deeper within themselves and be more. I don't think Leffen slays gods. I think he awakens them. He ignites the spirits of his opponents and makes them better. He transforms them from gods into titans. William Leffen Hjelte was born in Stockholm, Sweden. Leffen was into games from a young age, but around 11 or 12 he discovered World of Warcraft. Like a lot of online games, World of Warcraft, particularly in PvP, has a lot of trash talk.
I think they were just making fun of her because she sounded like Mickey Mouse.
Which became Leffen's frame of reference when he entered the grassroots, offline world of Smash Bros. Melee. Once Leffen began competing, he improved quickly. His first tournament, he barely made it out of pools. His next, he got 33rd, then 25th, then 17th. But the better he became, and the more he interacted with the Swedish Melee community, the more his trash talk on and offline rubbed the community the wrong way.
I actually want Leffen to win this.
Now, come on, are you kidding me? You're not my friend anymore, man. What the fuck?
I'm always for the underdog winning, man.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that, and I forgive you, because you don't know Leffen.
Leffen doing tech skill and just ignoring her. Leffen's disrespect levels are over 9,000. I mean, it's too much.
Do you want to, actually, would you like to interview Leffen?
No, you can do that.
No, because it's your region. I feel like interviewing a guy that's made fun of me.
The reaction of certain people in the Swedish scene was so strong that they sought out Sweden's top player Armada to intervene on their behalf to take action against Leffen.
The thing is, I never ever did this for my own sake. This was a lot of people that came to me and basically felt like if we do anything here, no one is gonna listen because we are not, higher ups in the community, right?
As a result, from about February 2013 to February 2014, Leffen was banned from Melee tournaments in Sweden. As is common in Leffen's story, there's even controversy surrounding this controversy, as according to Leffen, The ban was handled very poorly and was only threatened online and was never discussed in person. For a lot of people, this would end their competitive story, but I feel like this is where Leffen's story begins. It was during this ban that Leffen started branching out into other fighting communities. It's also when he met two key figures in his life, his longtime girlfriend, Jenny Juanson, and an Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 player who was the best in Europe, Bubblean AB7. Bubblean became a kind of sensei to Leffen. Leffen's rise in the Melee community centered around planning tactics and practicing situations. But Bubblean helped Leffen see that there was more of a mental aspect to fighting games than Leffen realized.
I think the biggest thing that this taught me, it really made me understand and appreciate the big mental part of esports and competing in general. Throughout earlier in my Smash career, I was always like, what can I do to win this one situation? What can I do to get a little bit more technical? Never ever did I think, what can I do to keep myself together? What can I learn about myself?
Leffen's mental game has to be on point in Melee because he plays one of the fastest, most technical, most demanding characters in the game, Fox. Fox is one of, if not the best character in Super Smash Bros. Melee. In Leffen's excellent series on Metafy, Fox Deconstructed, Leffen says with Fox, if you screw up, you die. If you hit the thing, you win. According to Leffen, Fox has a very even spread of attacks. In the air, on the ground, using specials, every one of Fox's moves is viable. And he's fast. Short hop, full jump, dash speed. Fox is fast in every single way. But Fox can die easily. He's light. He can die early from moves, and he has an exploitable recovery, despite the fact that it's also amazing. And Fox is an extremely technical character. Because of his speed and range, there's a precision to playing him that takes an immense amount of practice. If you're a Fox main, Fox is your Melee life, and probably a lot of your actual life. I think Fox suits Leffen because Leffen is extremely hardworking. Similar to his fellow Swede, Armada, Leffen, especially in the beginning of his career, was working harder than anyone else.
They've also talked about it. They know that they have different work ethics than the other top tier players. Yeah.
Leffen has a vast amount of Melee knowledge. Characters, matchups. It feels like, at times, Leffen almost knows everything about Melee.
He has such great awareness. He's tested out so many small little things.
Because Leffen is such a hard worker, I get the impression that he's labbed out a lot of things other players only know experientially or anecdotally. Even historically, he played Yoshi for 3 months, then mained Falco, then switched to Fox, and now has a deadly Sheik secondary. I think one of the reasons Leffen talks so confidently about the game is because he knows so damn much.
One of Leffen's greatest strengths is that he knows his matchups. He's excellent against all those mid-tier, low-tier characters. He knows exactly how to abuse the advantages of his characters.
Yeah. Okay, so he reads that Zane was going towards the edge here. Zane could have double jumped over here and grabbed the edge later, but he reads that Zane is going to try to fade to the edge, and then still has to make another read on the double jump timing, because Zane could have dropped and then upbeat, and then this pack would have whiffed and Zane would have been back. Whereas instead, if after this nair, he just grab edge, then Zane still has to do the same mind game of like jumping towards the edge, but if he reads the option with backer, then Zane just instantly dies.
Unfortunately, Leffen's confidence and outspoken nature often leads him into problems. Leffen will call out the community.
It's the same thing, like people say, oh, I'm aiming for top 8. You're not gonna get top 8. The people who get top 8 are the people who aim for first. The people who aim for top 8, they don't practice hard, they don't try as hard, they don't think they have a chance against the Armada when they do.
Other players.
One of those events when Leffen lost to Hungrybox, and Leffen went on Twitter and he said, oh, well, congratulations to Hungrybox for the upset Kappa or something like that, and I was like, ooh.
Other fighting games for being too bloated.
Google everything, learn everything about frames. And it's just a completely wrong approach of getting into a game. You are talking like a pro player who wants to learn a game super fast and immediately having it become rewarding and satisfying after a week.
Other players' opinions about games or characters that clash with Leffen's own.
I'm in Latif's stream. Latif asked me, personally, how I feel about Chip. I state my opinion, what did you do? Oh, you're crazy, you're on copium, blah, 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 XYZ. Wait a minute, this is the same dude that apologized to me?
And he'll call out rule sets he deems unfair.
What would your rule be?
5 seconds left on time.
Give me your dream rule. You are the chairman of Smash. What's the rule called?
Oh, just like we basically look at the campiest games of most platform camping.
We are in another
You
world
check the
right
airtime limit. You implement an airtime limit. It doesn't have to be egregious.
I think it's important to remember that Leffen has a champion's mindset. He wants to dominate every game and everyone.
I want to be the best at fundamentals in any fighting game, period.
This belief, this confidence, is absolutely quintessential to his success, and maybe even the success of fighting game communities, because it creates rivals for players, views on videos, and news stories that might further push the reach of the game or up the dollars invested into it. And even if you were this polite, normally quiet statesman, if you had this belief, this confidence, this drive, it spills out of you one way or another.
Oh my god, and Armada with the pop-up!
Armada!
Oh my god, yes!
I told you! I could...
And Leffen's confidence comes out in his brutal honesty. For Leffen, the fighting game world is a place to be conquered, and he will not back down from that challenge or anyone.
You know the StarCraft player Jaedong? And in an interview, like, he was known to make Zerg versus Zerg consistent. I believe the quote he said was, like, you require a special kind of confidence to make, like, to win that. I think I have that confidence. And after that, I just realized, like, I can't back down from the Fox Ditto. If there's a challenge, I will take it and I will beat it.
I think Leffen's hard work is something not only that he's relied on, but that defines him. In an interview, I recall Leffen being asked to compare himself to the 5 gods, and Leffen saying something like, he felt like he had aspects of a lot of them, but he was his own unique player. And while that's true, I find an almost eerie similarity between Leffen and Mewtwo King.
That was the death. That was very Mewtwo King-esque. Mewtwo Leffen, Leffen 2 King.
Particularly in how they think about and approach the game.
He has a very similar style to me. Play kind of defensive, smart, methodical, calculated. Pick your moves wisely, try to play optimal. His Fox is pretty much what my Fox would be if I main only Fox.
You know, he knows a lot of frame data, he has fantastic game knowledge.
Exactly.
And that helps in those matchups. You can see that with Mewtwo King as well.
Leffen is really cocky in a sense sometimes.
Yeah, he is.
But he's more like a bedroom guy who practices things.
Everyone makes a joke that to be good you have to like sit in your basement for hours on end, over and over again until you finally have an understanding for the game. No one actually does it, except for Mewtwo King.
But it's not just that. I feel like Leffen and Mewtwo King share a similar overall mentality. I think one of the reasons they both study the game so hard is because that knowledge makes them comfortable. They both want to understand what's going on.
He loses 1 match or 2 matches and that's it. He's done for the tournament. He can't bounce back from it. He's not like a Ken or a Chuda. He doesn't like the adversity. He doesn't like being cheered against. He doesn't like not understanding what's going on.
I felt lost when I played against Hungrybox in Winners.
Yeah.
And I never want to feel like that. So I just like looked it up, like thought, what makes me feel like this way? What does he do? And then, you know, I had this notepad, like 2 pages of like Hungrybox, what he does against like Mewtwo King and Armada.
Right.
And just like super overanalyzed it. And then
wants to know a situation fully or like understand it fully and not just like run in and just do things out of feeling.
In addition to this knowledge feels safe approach to the game, I feel like Leffen and Mewtwo King also share similar weaknesses. Both Leffen and Mewtwo King have godlike ability at the game, and when their ability or precision fails them, they are extremely hard on themselves. They almost crumble mentally.
Especially after it went up 2-0, I started thinking the way that I used to think, that when I was like completely prepared, this is like the end, the summit at the end of the season. And so like, I was really hard on myself after I lost both sets because I felt like I should have won. I felt like it was execution, but my heart is like, you lost, you suck. You can't, it's so hard to get over that. Like, I just want to win really bad. Even though I'm rusty, I feel like I should win.
Do you think Armada's gonna choke? I mean, the thing is, of all the top 6, like, he's probably the one that chokes the least. Right. Me and Leffen are probably the one that choked the most.
While I feel like both Leffen and Mewtwo King have come a long way, their biggest demons are still themselves. And Leffen has so many reasons to give up. It's almost like the universe is conspiring against him. In 2016, Leffen was signed to Team Solo Mid, which, ironically, led to his visa being denied and prevented Leffen from entering American tournaments for a full year. In 2021, Leffen was doing hand exercises and accidentally dropped weights on his hand and broke it. And again in 2021, Leffen had more visa issues mixed with COVID restrictions and was denied entry again into the US for 5 months. He's also been very public about controller issues, and he's been very public about the lack of competition in his region, which makes it difficult to get better at Melee. Because of all of these setbacks, and because of the immense mental pressure Leffen puts on himself, he gets down on himself so much.
I mean, I don't have much belief in myself, but that's kind of understandable given how destroyed I was recently.
But he rises up. What helps Leffen tremendously is that his floor is so high. And the reason for that is his approach to fighting games in general. During his ban, Leffen gained an appreciation for fundamental play, watching other top players in other fighting games.
And then I just thought, I'm just going to focus on the basic things. I saw all the top players, Justin Wong, Chris G, Filipino champ, all of them, none of them do hard combos. They just do the basic thing, they have godlike fundamentals.
A lot of people watching Leffen comment about how his playstyle is so simple, almost boring. Yes, his sets are sometimes hype, and he has sometimes stylish, exciting combos on people, but every move, every tactic Leffen uses comes back to a place of pure, simple fundamentals.
Just pure fundamentals. Like, it's really hard to describe, but just like the pure basics. Edge guarding, combos, dash dancing,
not missing
jumping,
your DIs.
spacing, yes.
And I think all of this, Leffen's hard work ethic, his desire to fully study characters and situations, his focus on fundamentals, makes Leffen an expert tactician. He not only knows, at all times, what positions are bad for you and good for him, and what the limits of your character are, he's also watching how you play, analyzing what you do, or theorizing what you might do, breaking it down to the same minute details that he can study until he finds a weakness he can exploit.
Basically, soft engage game 1.
Yeah.
And then the fact that I won that game 2 was like bonus, but I mostly aimed to like, all right, I'm gonna try to play good, of course, but like figure out, you know, what she wants to do after Laser and how she deals with the platforms.
And I think one of the ways players are able to get around Leffen's brilliant analysis and skill is by challenging his understanding of what Melee is supposed to be. Leffen is extremely opinionated on what he considers optimal Melee. Almost like this concept of what Leffen deems optimal play is his church. And anything that challenges that concept of what is optimal is blasphemy.
Getting hit by downer, down throw downer in 2017. You cannot get hit by that in 2017. There is no excuse for getting hit by the most basic mix-up.
But this also means optimal choices are predictable.
Because I played with Albert, and Albert was like, yeah, you're just really predictable, and it's easy to hit you.
And yet, there's something ethereal about Leffen, particularly in how he vibes with other players. I think Leffen brings out the best in his opponents, when those opponents have immense depths of skill.
Be defensive, he's got that Swedish in him, and he can go ham and just rush you down.
Yeah.
That's why Leffen's style's sick. He's like, you just got everything down.
Yeah.
He's like the most perfect Fox for sure. Like, not perfect, complete.
At his best, Leffen is like this perfect symphony of Melee. A being of precise execution and planning. Pure. And when you take that, and you point it at a player who has the capacity within them to handle Leffen's fire, the souls of Leffen's opponents, in turn, burn brighter. Take Mango. For much of Mango's career, he's been a slumbering titan. Playing as Scorpion Master with Mario, not trying super hard during a series of tournaments. Part of that, I'm sure, is trying to keep the competitive drive for the game alive. But I also feel like Mango is only awakened when a challenger comes to face him. I feel like Armada was one of the players that challenged Mango, and I also feel like Zane is perhaps the last challenger we'll see that awakened Mango. And Leffen. Even when Mango and Leffen's games are sloppy, in my opinion, they're the best Melee has to offer. All their godlike ability and their human vulnerability is on full display when they clash. And I think that's when Melee is at its best, when all of ourselves are on display. When we're pushed so far that it takes everything we have to surpass a challenge in front of us. And that's why you see these kinds of sets with Leffen in other fighting games, like his infamous set with Goichi in Dragon Ball FighterZ, where Goichi, the absolute best in the world, was pushed to the brink. And why Armada was forced back to the lab after Leffen's vengeful, incendiary win at Beast 4, Leffen's first Swedish tournament back since his ban, his first major tournament win, and his first victory over Armada. Despite all of Leffen's setbacks, despite all of his controversy, despite his constant battles with his own demons, Leffen comes back. And he brings other people back too. Currently, Leffen is at a crossroads, unsure if he's able to be the Melee player he wants to be from EU's shores, and facing setback after setback after setback throughout his career. In his Fox series on Metafy, Leffen has these final words in his introduction about Fox. Leffen's opinions about Fox aren't about Fox. They're about life. And if Leffen truly were leaving Melee, I can think of no better words to say goodbye.
He's a very hard character. There's a lot of different things going on, and you might pick the character up and be like, I can't even short hop. I can't wave shine. I can't short up laser. I can't do anything. Why would I play this character? And I just think it's very important to remember that everyone starts out that way. Everyone starts out, terrible, spamming the C-stick, going to the first local, getting O2'd, and that really does not define how you are eventually going to play. When I first picked up Fox or first picked up Melee, I could never have imagined to, be a sponsored player who won a lot of tournaments or play Melee even this way. And I think it's really, really important to remember that all these small changes, they take time. Improvement is not linear. You're going to learn something new, which is going to make you initially often worse at first, where you'll struggle to implement this into your playstyle. But if you trust the process, if you put the time in, and if you really try hard enough, and you keep adjusting, finding the things that work out for you, finding this is how I learned, this is how I want to play, eventually you will be able to look back and you realize that all these things that you thought you'd never be able to do, you can do them now.